The catalyst for providing feedback on the final exams was the number of student emails I would receive after the final exam results had been released, with the common complaint from students, "I can't believe I failed the course." So in part, the feedback I was providing was to address that complaint, but in providing the feedback, there were opportunities for me to tell students the things they did well on the exam, how they could do better next time, because these students are going to have to do not only a second but also a third and possibly even a fourth law course within their degree. And there was also the opportunity for staff, including myself, to get feedback about the effectiveness of the questions we were using on that exam paper. Feedback's provided on the Learning at Griffith in a Word document under the assessment folder. So the feedback's not individual feedback. Students still have that opportunity to gain individual feedback, and some do so after they've read what's on Learning at Griffith. They can come up for a short interview with us to review their final exam paper. But the general feedback provided on Learning at Griffith is in three parts. There's an overview of results. Secondly, there's general comments about the best and worst answered questions on the final exam. And thirdly, there's suggestions for improvement. So looking at the overview of results, students get an idea of where they sit in the cohort. So my exam papers consist of different variety of questions. There'll be multiple choice, there'll be short answer questions. And so what the overview does is it provides the average, the median and the range of marks on each of those different parts of the exam paper. The second type of feedback that I give are the general comments. Now, these comments are not just made by myself, but the markers. So before we start marking, I ask the exam markers to note down any common errors that students are making, but also where someone has done a really good job, they might highlight that as well. The other thing they can provide to me also is how effective they thought the actual questions were in assessing that particular topic or topics. The last category of feedback is suggestions for improvement. And so what this can look at is issues around time management, exam preparation skills that the students might want to think about, also even exam methodology, how they go about approaching finishing the exam, as well as revising particular course content. So that feedback remains available to these students so that they can look at perhaps in a following semester when they're facing having to do a mid-semester exam or a final exam. Students' responses to the feedback being provided have been very positive. A popular response from students has been, "This is the first time I ever got any feedback on the final exam." The other positive outcome has been that providing the feedback has led to what's been seen as a perceived reduction in the number of students wanting to have a review of their final exam paper. Where I'd like to go from here is to have the students record their expectations about their performance on the final exam and then make that comparison with their actual performance on the exam and the feedback that I provide. And what I'm hoping will come from that comparison will be a reflection on the part of the students about how they can improve their performance in subsequent courses that they're going to undertake in the future parts of their degree. PebblePad is an excellent resource for students to make that record and make that comparison about their expectations, their performance and their subsequent reflections. I would recommend to my fellow staff members to do exactly that, to provide feedback to students at the conclusion of the course. The feedback can be brief, it can be general in nature, but what it has the ability to do is to motivate students to reflect upon their performance, to make informed decisions about how they're going about to improve that performance in subsequent law courses, which they are going to do in the future. And it's a step towards making our students independent learners.